I'm standing right now on ground of Roma, Texas. Right across the river is Mexico. And just to give you an idea that no part of this immigration conversation or debates about reform is a simple, straightforward one, if you cross by water coming to this country, you're doing so illegally. If you cross on land, you're doing it legally, albeit with no promise of having a final stop in the United States. We're going to have a conversation with Sister Pimentel. And for her, this is not a theoretical conversation. She's lived this, literally dealing with more than 10,000 migrants coming from all parts of largely Latin America. Depending where you come from, depending how you come, depending when you come, depending who you come with, are all variables in who gets to stay and who doesn't. We're going to get into those conversations and much more with the sister. Sister, thank you. We've spent time on both sides of the border, and we've seen and heard heartbreaking stories from people who are in limbo, not knowing if they'll ever get to this side of the border. Explain how people get here versus so many that never get to the American side.
The United States has made an agreement with Mexico to return everybody back to Mexico that is trying to enter the country. That was in place since the previous administration. This administration has maintained that same policy and returns everybody back. That's Title 42, okay? In Title 42, everybody that attempts to enter the United States is sent right back to Mexico. But Mexico is saying anyone that has a child under the age of 6 we cannot take back. And so those families are forced to remain in the United States, and they're allowed to give permission after they've been processed and been vetted. They give them permission to continue their journey and continue their immigration process in the United States at their point of destination. So these are the families we see right now here. These are moms or dads, family units that have kids, and they have at least one child that is under the age of 6. Those that are at high risk, most vulnerable in Mexico, if they're going to be allowed back into and to be able to be processed in the United States and give permission to enter the United States. But that is just starting to, this past week, that began. And so those families also are starting to see here.
People think of immigration, it's interesting, always is a new issue, but it's been going on.
It has been going on
for a long,
while,
long time.
Yes.
How have you seen the last year of this conversation and the faces and the stories that you hear? How has that changed from 5, 10, 15 years ago?
What I hear from the families is the same reality from day one when we started in 2014 and welcomed the very first families we saw at our bus station. There are families that are crying and saying, I can't go back home. My older child was killed. I'm afraid for my baby, my kids now. They will also be killed or kidnapped or recruited by gangs. And so out of that fear, families come to the United States. This is the story I've heard since day one when we got started, to respond in a humane way to these families that are now here in the United States. The United States has given them permission to remain in the United States, to be processed safely and legally, to determine whether they have a right to be here because of asylum. So we basically just take them to provide for them the care, the humanitarian care they need, because they're here already, and we give them a chance to take a shower, to eat, to get clean clothing, and then connect them with their families so that their families can pay their bus transportation, and they're gone. So they're here a couple of hours. That's all we're doing. It's just good people from the United States that feel that these are people, human beings, these are families and children. They need care.
We have talked to a lot of folks on the Texas side of the border who say, listen, I don't hate these people. I understand what they're running from, but we're also concerned about the tax that it's going to put on us, not the economic, but the human tax and the safety issue. Do these people, if they get a court date, do you think that they want to show up to the court? Do they just think that I'm in the country and that's it? I've gotten to a better life with my family. What is the goal of the people that you talk to? And I know you have 24, 48 hours with these people before they get to the next stage in life, but you've seen thousands of these people. What's your sense as to what their real dream is?
The real dream is the mother's dream is for their child to be safe, to be protected, to be in a safe space where they're not going to be killed or kidnapped. That's their dream. They want to be able to provide for their family, care for their family in a safe environment. I believe that most of them, not all of them, would rather be home, would rather be in their country where if it was safe to be there. There's their dream, but they can't be there. So the next best thing is to be in a country that they know is safe, like the United States. They feel that here their kids have a chance to grow up, to go to school, to be safe until the day they can go back home, you know? And so all of them would rather go to a immigration court and process a legal process to share their story so people will know. I've seen death in my own neighborhood. People are scared. These are my story. They want that chance. They want to be able to go to an immigration court and be heard. That's who these families are. So I get people call me and say, Sister, I'm in Chicago, I'm in Los Angeles. I haven't received a notice to appear. What do I need to do? And I said, go and show up to the immigration closest to you, and let me find a way to get you there, you know, and guide you. So we have legal attorneys here giving charlas and explaining to the families what they need to do.
I was struck by how much misinformation people were being fed when they were coming here, what they would find, and that this is much more complicated than people in Washington make it out to be, what we should or shouldn't do. But if you got to sit down with the president and you said, this is what would really make the most amount of sense to deal with desperate people, what would it be that we're not doing?
We have seen this since 2014, probably even more longer, and it has never been addressed, the root causes of why these people are here. We've always tried to address it at the border, like deter them from coming, enforce the border so they don't cross in, put up a wall, all of that efforts. It's like you're not really looking at why these families are coming, and hopefully find ways to find solutions that keep these families home, keep them safe, keep them from traveling and risking their lives in the way they do. They're people. And we're an amazing country with high principles, respect to life. We must treat these families that are here the right way.
We're conditioned, whether it be through an epic or a movie, that after a great journey, at the end of that piece of art, our protagonists, when they reach that final destination, we have closure. What struck me, and hopefully you've gotten to see it for yourselves over this program, is that we have anything but closure when the people finally reach the shores of the United States, and in many cases, don't even get that far. We've tried to put a human face on this, showing people what they're running from, their fractured families, the heartbreak that drives them, and also the hope. We've shown folks on this side of the border who often have sympathy, but also a healthy sense of outrage. And we've shown the heroes, like Sister Pimentel, who are trying to facilitate a better life. It is very complicated. We don't have all the answers, but at least, hopefully after this half hour, we can ask better questions.